What's going on, guys? Happy New Year. I hope 2023 is off to a great start for you. This is my first time recording again in the new year, and I want to kick off the year with some predictions about email marketing in 2023 from someone who's in it every single day, working with 6, 7, 8-figure businesses, having daily conversations with business owners, and of course, always looking for new ways to innovate on our side as far as executing on the email marketing. And I've got 3 predictions on my mind for 2023 that I want to share with you. So the first one is that brands are going to increase their email frequency, which means we're all going to be getting a lot more emails than we have over the last few years. And this one might seem kind of obvious if you are, if you've been in the digital marketing world at all for the last 5 or 10 years. And especially if you've, just worked in the marketing world at all from the previous recession. And the thing that's fueling this prediction from me is that we are in a recession, and it's looking like it could potentially get a lot worse in 2023. And normally when that happens, the first thing that businesses do to save money is they cut their ad budgets. Either they decrease ad spending a lot, or they just totally cut out advertising, depending on, size of their business and overall strategy and all of that. So that means that, okay, they're cutting out this, for a lot of cases, is a massive source of sales, meaning that they're going to be looking for other sales channels to make up for that. And email marketing is by far the most cost-effective sales channel. And so many businesses have neglected their email marketing up to this point that it really just becomes the most obvious choice or the most obvious solution when a brand is looking for, okay, how can we increase our sales in a way that is not going to cost as much as advertising would. And I can tell you that in discussions with my clients, that a lot of businesses have already decreased their ad spend, and a lot of them are planning to decrease their ad spend this year very significantly, which means, on one hand, just kind of means more pressure on us to generate more sales from email marketing, but also means more opportunity for anyone involved in email marketing. So if you're someone who's watching this and you're not a brand doing email marketing, but you are a service provider, then could potentially be good news for you, because it means there will probably be more opportunities over the next year or so. So I definitely think that more businesses will be doing email marketing overall, and of all the businesses that are doing email marketing, they're going to increase their email frequency simply for the fact that they are going to need to find ways to increase sales in a cost-effective way to hopefully make up for the loss in sales from whatever they cut from their ad spend, or wherever else they might be trying to save money. But typically that's kind of how it goes. In most businesses, that's one of the first costs that they cut, is their advertising. Okay, prediction number 2 is that this really picks up from prediction number 1. I predict that SMS revenue will double this year at least, even if we see a major recession where consumer demand declines rapidly. I'm kind of hoping, well, I shouldn't say I'm hoping for that, but for the sake of this being an interesting prediction, I will say that especially if consumer demand declines very significantly, we will still see SMS revenue double in 2023. And again, this really just picks up along the same line of thinking as prediction number 1, which is that businesses are looking for ways to make more money more cost effectively, right? They're probably cutting, they might have to lay people off, which means they need to be more efficient. They might be cutting out their advertising, which means that it's going to be harder to generate or to get new customers and generate sales from new customers, which means they're going to have to either find other sales channels, or they're going to have to perform better with existing sales channels. And again, I think that leads people to email marketing being a very obvious conclusion. But anyone who starts to get involved in that and starts to look at how can we maximize that is very quickly going to realize that SMS is really an extension of email marketing that's very effective. And while they may have disliked it in the past, just due to current circumstances and the fact that if they do a little research and find out that a lot of consumers actually prefer it, it won't be very long before it becomes, again, another obvious solution for them to add into their overall marketing strategy. And I think that SMS, for a lot of people who are have been on the fence about it as far as business owners, I know I've had a lot of these conversations, especially in the last year, year on the different podcasts I've been on, it seems like the question about SMS comes up more often than not. And I would say, 80 to 90% of the time, the sentiment from the podcast hosts is that they don't like SMS, or they think that we should be very careful and leery about it because they think that consumers don't like it. And again, it's just like the information just isn't getting out there to people of how well SMS is doing. So yeah, this year I expect to see the revenue generated from SMS at least double regarding of overall, economic climate. And then prediction number 3, this is like the trendy one. You probably expected me to say this in this video, although you might not agree with my actual take on this, but my third prediction is about AI. I'm sure you've heard of ChatGPT from OpenAI, and this has been like the biggest hyped up thing over the last few weeks. My prediction is that AI will not live up to the hype, and it will actually make it even easier to stand out in the inbox as an email marketer. So this has really gotten a lot of attention, but a lot of people might not realize these types of AI products have been around for a while. We've actually had several iterations over the last, several 5+ years. I've only been using them in the last few years. And I will say that whenever I first used ChatGPT, I kind of had a similar experience to the previous times a new exciting AI software was put out. Although there has never been one that has gotten this much mainstream exposure before. As now, but I pretty much had the same experience where the first impression was, whoa, this is way better than the previous version or the previous best AI product that was available as far as, when it comes to the quality of information, the way it can interact with you, the way it can process commands and actually, spit out something that makes sense for the information that you gave it. But it's still very underwhelming in terms of creativity. So in terms of actually coming up, saying something original and coming up with something that has personality to it, is unique, funny, and has really good, I would say, good psychology in the strategy of how it's presented. It just tends to be a lot more cut and dry. Just like these are the facts. It's laid out in a presentable way. It can be very conversational and friendly, but again, it's just kind of generic. So what I expect is that right now we're seeing a bunch of people trying to build businesses all around AI, and are trying to figure out how to leverage this to basically 10x or 100x their content output across the board. So people are expecting to be 10xing, 100xing all of their Facebook posts and Instagram posts, anything where you're writing copy, blog posts, emails, everything. And the problem with that is, for one, it just means a lot more filler content out there on the internet. So it just means that we're all going to be spammed with so much more content than ever before, which, on one hand, that's annoying. On the other hand, okay, it actually makes it easier to stand out, because if you have something unique and creative to say, and it's actually from a human, it's going to stand out. But the other thing here is that the way that Google and these other tech companies filter spam, as far as how, whatever ends up on Google search results, whatever ends up ranking at the top of Google in their search results, what ends up in your inbox instead of the spam folder. I know that Google, and I don't know about the other companies, but I imagine, because everyone kind of follows suit with Google is already working on ways to be able to filter out AI generated content, meaning that if you try to, rank a bunch of keywords, by putting out AI generated content on the blog of your website, Google is going to know, and they're not going to give that the ranking that you're hoping to get. In fact, they might even punish your website for doing that. And the same thing goes with emails. So they're already working on filters to know whenever the email copy is AI generated and not written by a human. And they're going to want to filter that out to be spam, because again, it's like the thinking there is that there's so many companies that are going to, and people who are going to over leverage this to the point that they are creating real spam, and they're not even being thoughtful of how they're creating the content. But then here's the other thing, is like, if you actually play around with this, it's interesting, because the AI ChatGPT puts out good information. If you ask it to, write an article or write an email about a certain product or a particular topic, it's surprising how how good the information actually is, but it's also very basic. It's just basic plain stuff, and it's not really, it's kind of like, it's great for giving you best practices, but it's not great for creating something that's actually unique and differentiated and something that would require a human to do. So now I'm not saying that these are terrible and you shouldn't use it, but what I'm saying is you don't want to neglect the human element. You definitely want to edit anything, edit any of the copy that you get from AI, for one, because you don't want to get filtered out. You don't want to be marked as spam, which that is likely coming very soon. So, this could be this whole party of, people thinking that they're going to, 100x their content output. That party could be over very quickly. But the other thing is, again, it's just the emails are good, but they're not great. And as more brands are going to be emailing more often, and you will very likely have a lot of those emails be AI generated, we're just going to have a lot of boring, bland content, and it's going to be even easier to stand out by coming up with unique marketing angles and by doing the work to come up with a great messaging strategy for your business, and to write copy that actually delivers on that messaging strategy. So this is something where I think we're going to see a lot of hype early in the year. I definitely think that there are going to be, I definitely think that AI is the future, is going to replace us, and it's going to be able to do email marketing for us in the future without, any input or very little input at all from us. But we're just not there yet. And I definitely think that the hype kind of fizzles out, at least when it comes to email marketing, and that people will find ways to use it similar to how we've already been using it, because these have already been around. And you can just ask copywriters or anyone who have been using these products over the last few years, and it's like, yeah, it seems kind of fun at first, and it can be kind of helpful sometimes as far as generating ideas, or just maybe like creating some sort of structure of a piece of content that you then go edit. But it's not going to just take away all the work for you, and it's not going to have these dramatic effects that everyone else is predicting it's going to have. So those are my 3 predictions for 2023. As we wrap up the year and look into 2024, I will go back and see if I was right or wrong about all of these. So I think number 1, obvious. I don't see how I get that one wrong. Number 2, questionable. We'll see. Number 3, I could be very wrong. Things can change very quickly with technology. A lot can happen in 1 year. So we shall see. Anyways, that's it for now. Hope you guys are having a great start to your year, and I will see you in the next video.